So again, first thing we're going to do is start with the tools that you need to be making paper straws and flat strips that you can weave with. So I have some sort of straight edge. Now I've got a ruler hanging around. I know not everybody has that, so you can cut yourself a piece of plastic from a milk bottle and improvise, bits of wood, anything you've got round. What you really need is a straight edge. On top of that, you're going to need some sort of long thin stick. Now ideally things like bamboo sticks for barbecues, knitting needles. You can improvise and use things like the middle of cotton buds, and I'm sure you've got other things, something around the house that is long and got a round tube. Ideally you want it to be maximum of a ½ centimetre at the most. On top of that, you're going to need scissors to cut with. You're also going to need some type of glue, and I've got here tacky glue, but you might have something like a glue stick, the old-fashioned, just take the lid off and spread it. If you're going to use glue like this, then you can use PVA glue. If you haven't got a spreader, you can improvise. I'd cut a piece of plastic sheeting from milk bottles. Milk bottles are very handy to cut up and use into things, so that I can use as a spreader. Obviously some sort of pot to put the glue in if it's separate. On top of that, you're going to need something to protect the surface you're working in. So I've got an old chopping board. You can use trays, anything that works, because glue is obviously quite messy. Okay, so I'm going to switch this off and I'm going to get ready for the next stage. So the first thing to do is to prepare your paper. So I've got some magazine paper here, but you can use any other reasonably thin paper. Newspaper's okay, so is wrapping paper, anything that works in that way that you have to hand. So I'm going to show you two ways of doing this, depending on whether you're someone who needs to be really neat or you're someone who's okay to be a bit more improvising, which is more me. First thing you're going to do is fold up your paper, starting at one edge, and then do the same width all the way up so you get to the top. So I'm just going to do this bit to show you. There we go. Okay, next thing to do is to get your straight edge with your ruler, and you want this to be, so you can see the width of a standard ruler. So first thing I'm going to do is get the edge of my paper, and I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to mark a line, and then I'm going to move it along and carry on going till I get to the edge. I don't know if you can hear the rain or my cat meowing outside. He wants to come in because he can hear me talking. Now as I've run out and that isn't wide enough, I'm going to cut that last piece off but not use it as part of this piece of work. So quickly cut along your line, and when you unfurl, you're going to have a straight edge. Now I think that's pretty good. It's not exactly straight, but it's nearly there. So again, it doesn't really matter for this kind of project. Hello, I'm back again. It's still raining, but here we go. So I've got my strip of paper, I've got my stick, and I've got my glue in a container. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one corner and I'm going to give it a little bit of a curl up before I start. So I'm using my thumb to give it a little bit of a curl before I even start trying to put it on my stick. Can you see? Just giving it a little bit of a helping hand. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stick on the top, starting down at the end. Obviously if you're left-handed you might want to go the other way, but I'm right-handed, so I'm going this way. So tuck the paper around so it's tucked in under the stick, and sometimes it's easier to take it up and use your fingers to get it going, and then either carry on using your hand if you find that easier, and actually if you're using a knitting needle that might be easier because you'll have the end of the knitting needle in the way, or once you've got it got going for a neater edge, put it on the ground, on the table or ground, you could be doing this outside or on the floor, and just keep on rolling at an angle. So if you can see, instead of going straight up, I'm actually weaving and rolling gradually, so it's going to get longer and longer moving along the stick. Can you see? So next bit, keep going, try and keep it neat and tight so it's staying in the same thickness as you go along. Not always easy. If it does not work, just turn it, take it off and start again. So once you get going, you go slowly, you can roll it up. Just try and keep it the same thickness each time as you go along. You soon get the knack of it. It's just like anything. It's, if you've never done it before, it takes a little while to get used to it. So you can get really quick after a while. Can you see what I've done? So I've got to the end and I'm holding it down so it doesn't spring up, and I'm getting a little bit of glue on my spatula and I'm just spreading it along the edge, and then I'm going to keep on rolling. Can you hear my cat again? So if you've done it properly, what you should have is a long tube like that, and then when it's, give it a twiddle. So hopefully it hasn't stuck to what you're using. Mine hasn't, so I'm just pulling it out gently. As you go, and you've got a tube. Now what you can do is neaten it up by trimming off the edge. And then you need to make lots more. So keep going till you've got a bundle full.